It's that time of the week, the Thursday crossover episode, San Francisco 49ers, New York Giants, primetime Thursday night football, the biggest storylines, key matchups in week 3 coming at you right now.
You are Locked On 49ers, your daily San Francisco 49ers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On 49ers, Locked On Giants crossover for week 3. San Francisco 49ers hosting the New York Giants on Thursday night football. Brian Peacock and Eric Crocker here of Locked On 49ers with the esteemed Patricia, Traina of Locked On Giants. Patricia, always a pleasure chatting with you. I do want to let the folks out there know that this crossover episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use code LockedOnNFL for a first deposit match up to $100. And Patricia, we always start with the biggest storylines, and I know it's been a rough go for at least the first 6 quarters of the New York Giants season. What's the big story? What's going on in New York with this football team? Like what kind of team are we going to see here in San Francisco in week 3?
Yeah, we're still trying to figure that out, Brian. I mean, the Giants, 6 quarters, no scoring. The defense hasn't exactly looked sharp either. And, look, the schedule is what it is. I get it. But the schedule makers did not do the Giants any favors, having them go from Arizona, where they just barely got the win, out to San Francisco on a short work week. The Giants have not really had a true practice all week. So more than ever, they're going to need their coaching staff to deliver the goods here. Make sure everybody's on the same page. Make sure, all the assignments are known. The execution is there. It is an uphill battle for the Giants. So we'll see if Brian Dable and his staff can pull a rabbit out of their hat with this. But there's a reason why I believe that the Giants, at least last I checked, were the 10.5-point underdogs in this one.
That's something interesting that you brought up. And, I would have just kind of skimmed right over that or not even really paid attention to it unless it was the 49ers going through that. But to play a game on the road across the United States, travel back home, and then have to travel back all the way across the United States on a short week, that is not really setting a team up for any kind of success. Like that, because I think a lot of people don't think of the travel day too. Like you have to travel. So, you play a game Sunday in Arizona, which is the next state over from California. You have to get on a flight, they're flying private, and go all the way to New York, which is a decent flight, and then turn around and Wednesday fly back to California or fly to California on a short week. I mean, that's not really cool by the schedule makers to do that to the New York Jets.
Well, actually, the Giants stayed in Arizona after the game.
New York Giants, excuse me.
Yeah.
Oh, they didn't. Okay, and I said New York Jets. My bad.
But that being said, the Giants, Arizona, we all know it's right now. It's like over 100 degrees out there. The Giants worked, I believe, at Arizona State's bubble. The bubble is not, spacious like the 4 fields at the Quest Diagnostics Training Center where the Giants have their headquarters. They basically had to do walkthroughs, and Eric, from having played football, that walkthroughs are not at the same speed. There is only so much you can do in a walkthrough. So there's really a strong emphasis that is placed on the mental aspect of the game. We hear all the time coaches say football is what, more than 50% mental. I think it's like 90%.
90%. They say 90% right. Mental. 10%.
So this is going to be really key. How clean are the Giants going to be with their assignments and their execution? That to me would be one of the biggest concerns, because there's a reason why you practice. People say, oh, practice, it's overrated. No, it is not overrated. And certainly not when you're going up against a formidable opponent like the San Francisco 49ers.
Rest is obviously going to be huge for any football team playing on a short week, but you guys kind of nailed it. You look at the schedule, and I'm sure it was the same for you, Patricia, even, before getting into this game week of week 3, when the schedule was released and you're looking at, okay, what are the toughest games? road game at San Francisco, week 3, Thursday night. That's a scheduled loss many times for a lot of teams in the league on that road game. And I didn't know that they had stayed over in Arizona, so that's at least a bonus. That's one less flight. But man, kind of 100 degrees in Arizona, I might have wanted to go back to New York for an extra day and just rested instead of staying in Arizona.
Yeah.
Well, one thing that is cool about those long kind of, I don't want to call it layover, but when you stay somewhere else, professional athletes, you get a stipend that has nothing to do with your contract. So it goes by days. So like even like in the NFL, it was more, but like in the Arena League, when we would stay somewhere because we had back-to-back games in Florida and we'd be there for like 10 days or whatever it was because they didn't want to travel all the way back across the United States. It was like a $800 stipend because you get money for meals and everything throughout your stay. So even when these teams fly in and they're there for a couple of days, you still get a stipend. NFL I think it might be like $400 or something like that.
But more importantly, there's a bonding aspect to it, which
is, yes.
A lot of people overlook that and they say, that what does that have to do with anything? You'd be surprised, the Giants, they don't go away for training camp like they used to anymore. It's an opportunity for everybody to bond, whether they go out to a movie that, after they're done practicing or just hang out in the hotel, maybe sit in the bar or someplace like that. So that's a very, underrated part of things, but it's important because you learn about the guy playing next to you, and that can come in handy on game day.
Croc was one to hoard his stipend too. He's still living off his stipends from when he was in camp with the Jets back in 2013. Yeah, no distractions from home, right? You have that opportunity. Maybe even have an opportunity to focus a little bit more on the game plan entering.
Yeah. Because what are you going to do at night? You're going to just go back to your hotel room and you stare at the wall, or you stare at your playbook. I mean,
I'm sure
maybe that is a positive.
I'm sure some guys able to go find a place to spend that stipend $1 at a time. So that might be a distraction potentially. But biggest story, Croc. What do you think? What's the biggest story for the 49ers coming into week 3?
I think that the 49ers have not lost a regular season game in a really long time. If you kind of think back to midseason last year, it looked a little weird at times. 49ers had a tough loss to the Atlanta Falcons. Like, man, you're not supposed to lose to them. And then they had another tough loss to the Kansas City Chiefs. And that's it. That's the last time the 49ers have lost. And that was like, middle of the season? Not even to the middle of the season because they had just traded for Christian McCaffrey.
The last time the San Francisco 49ers lost a game was week 7, 2022. That was Sunday, October 23rd against the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Chiefs beat them up pretty good. That was back-to-back losses. They lost to Atlanta. They lost to Kansas City. And this was the Jimmy G San Francisco 49ers. And that was the post Trey Lance 49ers. Jimmy G enters the picture. The 49ers had a couple of weird games in there, Falcons, Kansas City, and then starting on Sunday, October 30th in week 8 against the Los Angeles Rams, the 49ers have rattled off now 12 straight wins heading into week 3 of 2023.
So I think it's a big storyline because are the 49ers going to lose a game, or when are they going to lose? Because they are playing at a very high level. And even at times where you've seen them go through some adversity, the Raiders game last year, that was really tight, crazy game. The game against the Rams where you're about to go into halftime and it's like, man, are we down 10-7? Not the same type of adversity that the Giants faced against the Cardinals, but you've kind of seen them and they bounce back and they get it right. And there's just been this consistency with the offense. There's been a consistency with the defense, and they look like an extremely difficult team to beat. And I have to figure out, like, how are you going to beat them? Are they going to shoot themselves in the foot? But right now they're playing as good of football as they have, and they're picking up right where they left off last year with a healthy Brock Purdy. So I think that's a big storyline that's been overlooked, just how good of football the 49ers have been playing.
Niners going for their 13th straight primetime Thursday nighter, 49ers hosting the New York Giants. More on the matchups in this one. What is the path to victory for both the San Francisco 49ers and New York Giants Thursday night next? Today's episode of Locked On 49ers, Locked On Giants crossover is brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is daily fantasy made easy. I have a ton of fun playing PrizePicks every single day. And not only NFL, by the way, guys, you can play tons of sports with PrizePicks, but let's be honest, we're NFL fans. We're covering the NFL here on this podcast and love those NFL picks on PrizePicks. I actually want to pick Patricia's brain a little bit later on what she likes for some Giants in this one to have potentially big games. I think this is a Debo game. You can win up to 25 times your money this season playing PrizePicks. All you do is you pick 2 players and you pick more or less on their projected stats at PrizePicks, and you could turn $10 into $250. We might see a little less Christian McCaffrey usage in this one. Brandon Ayuk coming off of an injury. So to me, I'm looking at the more than on Deebo Samuel rushing yards, only 15.5, maybe a George Kittle game as well. So you can make all those picks at PrizePicks every single week. All you do is you go to prizepicks.com/lockedonnfl or download the app and use code LOCKEDONNFL for a first deposit match up to $100. That is prizepicks.com/lockedonnfl or use code LOCKEDONNFL for a first deposit match up to $100. PrizePicks, daily fantasy sports made easy. Everyone should be empowered to care for themselves and their loved ones during the unexpected. That's why you need the Jase case. Jase Medical offering a Jase case. That's Jase Medical, Jase. The Jase case provides 5 life-saving antibiotics for emergency use and gives you a peace of mind that you're not just hoping that you have access to medication when you might need it during an emergency situation. We've been through pandemics, right? Maybe you are traveling with your family and you are up in the mountains somewhere. Maybe you don't have cell phone service where you are, and it might be difficult to get the emergency medication that you need. So empower yourself to care for yourself and your family. And Jase Medical is simple. They handle everything from online evaluation to licensed pharmacy medication and delivery of that medication and ongoing consultation and care at Jase Medical. So don't get caught unprepared. Save more than $360 by getting these life-saving antibiotics with Jase Medical, plus an additional $20 off by using code LOCKEDON at checkout on jasemedical.com. Again, that's Jase Medical, JASE medical.com, promo code LOCKEDON. We talked about the winning streak for the 49ers there. The other thing, looking at how the season has gone offensively for the New York Giants, Patricia, the 49ers had a crazy streak last year where teams just weren't scoring on their defense, and they were shutting teams out. They went multiple games in a row, shutting teams out completely in the second half. They've started doing that again to teams this year. And with how many quarters the Giants have gone without scoring and how many quarters the 49ers defense has gone with, not allowing teams to score, that to me is the big matchup in this game, because the New York Giants are going to put some points on the board if they want to win a football game.
Yeah, and they're going to likely have to do it without running back Saquon Barkley, despite what head coach Brian Dable said. I don't see Saquon playing in this game. Saquon just helps open things up for that Giants offense. So now, what's the alternative? What do you do with the running back? How do you replicate what Saquon brings to the table? I'm not sure that you do. So I'm wondering if perhaps the Giants are going to try and exploit the second level and beyond of that 49ers defense. Jalen Hyatt, the rookie receiver last year, got involved in the second half of the game last week and had an eye-opening type of game. Put that speed on display. Really try and stretch out that San Francisco defense and see if maybe you can hit a few of those deep chunk plays and move the ball up and down the field and maybe get into the end zone if you can.
Yeah, Jalen Hyatt getting involved, a couple of big receptions last week. Do you think we're going to see the dual threat magic of Daniel Jones in this one a little bit more? If Saquon Barkley, who's kind of been running the offense through Saquon Barkley in New York, and Matt Breida is a nice player. 49ers fans very familiar with the cheetah, Matt Breida. He's fast, right? But he's not the complete back that someone like Saquon Barkley is. I wonder if we might see a big rushing game. Would that be maybe a PrizePicks, a more than on rushing yards? I think it's like 39 rushing yards or something like that.
Yeah.
Is the stat line for Daniel Jones in this one.
I wouldn't be surprised. I hope it's not the case, because that 49ers defense is physical. They're big. They're fast, And I would not want to see Daniel Jones continue to take a pounding. He took a pounding a couple weeks ago at the hands of the Dallas Cowboys. And that offensive line, even though they played better against the Arizona Cardinals are not the Dallas Cowboys defense. They are not the Frisco defense. So I don't know if I would necessarily want to see Daniel Jones take a pounding. But yes, you're right. They will probably make use of that because, look, it's an asset to their offense. They've had some success with him running the ball. If I had to take a guess and say, the over under on 39 rushing yards, I might go with the over on this one.
Croc, what matchups are you looking at in this game for the 49ers? She mentioned Jalen Hyatt, your guy, Isaiah Hodgins over there as well.
Yeah, Hodgins, but I think it has to be Wyatt, right? A guy that can really take the top off the defense. The 49ers, and I've talked a lot about it, I don't think they have like special guys in the backfield in the sense of like pure speed. So can the 49ers kind of ball up a guy who really can stretch the field? And then outside of that, how well will the 49ers do against a mobile quarterback? That's kind of been the 49ers kryptonite over the years, really kind of balling up those type of rushing quarterbacks. And Daniel Jones, even though people don't view him as that real true dual threat, he's a guy that would run for over 700 yards in a season. So you can't let him spring off any long runs. You have to really keep him contained. I think teams have done a solid job of doing that, maybe force him into some situations where he's uncomfortable. We saw Dallas Cowboys do that a whole lot, and he might be even a little bit more uncomfortable now that he potentially doesn't have Saquon Barkley. So ball him up. Don't let him get in the rhythm by getting those yards on the ground that will kind of get his confidence going, get that team going, and definitely limit Jalen Hyatt over the top.
Patricia, I want to ask you about the offensive line for the New York Giants, because as we know, it all starts up front. It does for sure for the San Francisco 49ers. And Nick Bosa is still, after a long holdout, still working into form. Is he going to see Andrew Thomas? I know the left side of that Giants line has been banged up.
Yeah, I would be surprised if Andrew Thomas plays. I know, like I said, the Giants didn't practice this week. So their injury report was projected, and Thomas was projected as a limited participant, which he was also, by the way, 2 out of the 3 days last week. So, he didn't play against the Cardinals. You have 11 days after this game to get rested up, healed up, and ready for what continues to be a tough stretch of games for this team. Joshua Ezeudu, who's played left tackle for the Giants in Andrew Thomas's place, wasn't horrible. Okay, he's not Andrew Thomas-like, but he wasn't horrible. He was serviceable. So I think Thomas, my guess is he doesn't play. I think, it makes sense to just hold him out, let him have the additional 11 days after this to get fully healed. And then you bring him back for, the Monday night game against Seattle. And then you've got Miami, you got Buffalo on tap, have him ready for those games. Same with Saquon, despite the fact that they're saying, oh, he might play. Nah, he's not playing. I'd be stunned if he's playing. So, but regarding that offensive line, yeah, they shook things up a little bit last week. They replaced Mark Lewinsky at right guard with Marcus McKethan, who had never played an NFL snap because he lost his rookie season due to an ACL. Ben Bredesen, the left guard, is probably not going to play. He is in the concussion protocol. So you will see Lewinsky probably at left guard. So yeah, that offensive line, again, not bad against the Cardinals, but the Cardinals defense is not the 49ers defense. And that is a key matchup, something you want to keep an eye on for sure, because the 49ers are going to bring it at that offensive line, especially to test the young center, John Michael Schmitz, who's been getting tested with fancy looking stuff, stunts, blitzes, you name it. They've thrown it at him. He's held up, but we'll see what, the 49ers bring against them.
On paper, don't love the matchup here, obviously, for the New York Giants, but I think there's one thing I want to talk about next that is potentially a path for the Giants to limit the 49ers and maybe keep this one close. And then we'll see what the predictions are here for us in this one. And, maybe against the spread which is 10, I think 10 points right now is what I'm seeing on FanDuel, our partners at FanDuel. All the lines we reference are from FanDuel, by the way. And what's the picture look like for a Giants win? What's the picture look like for a 49ers win in week 3 next? Today's episode of Locked On 49ers and Locked On Giants crossover style is brought to you by Bird Dogs. I love wearing my Bird Dogs because they are so versatile. My Bird Dog shorts, I got the liner in my shorts, so wear them to a pool party, wear them to the barbecue, right? Or just be comfortable whatever you're doing, shopping, going to the gym, doing podcasts in my Bird Dog shorts. And Bird Dog's stretch khaki shorts are designed to fit slimmer through the thigh and leg, giving you that truly sculpted look. And Bird Dog's shorts they fit way better than regular shorts because they're not made of that stiff, restricting cotton. Bird Dogs fixed any of those comfort issues and movement issues by inventing cloud knit fabric that looks just like khaki but stretches so you get a way slimmer fit without having to sacrifice movement. And I mentioned I have the liner in my shorts. You can take them in the pool if you want at that pool party, right? But my long pants that I got from Bird Dogs are my favorites that are, wear them to work, wear them to the golf course. And they're fantastic. And again, they stretch in all the ways you need to, but they look great no matter where you are. If you're at a dinner function, if you are at work, or if you're, out at play for me, the golf course is where I love to wear my Bird Dog pants because they have the anti-stink sweat technology to go with all of the movement ability and the stretch cloud knit fabric that really keeps you cool and dry all day long. Get yourself a pair of Bird Dogs. Go to birddogs.com/LockedOnNFL or enter promo code LockedOnNFL at checkout. You get a free Bird Dogs water bottle with your order as well. That's birddogs.com/LockedOnNFL for a free water bottle at checkout. You won't want to take your Bird Dogs off. We promise you. Okay, Patricia, I know that one of the best players on that New York Giants defense is Dexter Lawrence, and they've got some size and some strength in size. Leonard Williams, A'Shawn Robinson. And I think that's the key to this game for the Giants is trying to limit the Kyle Shanahan, San Francisco 49ers run game. It's easier said than done, but the 49ers weakness right now has been on the interior and the right side of their offensive line. All of their big runs have come to the left side. So can the New York Giants win some of those reps up front? Can they win inside and limit the 49ers run game to the point where they put Brock Purdy under a little bit of pressure? They have some long third down plays, maybe even get some turnovers. I think that has to be the key for the Giants to win this game. What have you seen from that interior, that run defense for the New York Giants this far?
Yeah, that run defense has picked up where it left off last year, and that is not a good thing. The Giants finished 27th last year against the run. The first couple weeks, they have continued their struggles against the run. I'm not quite sure why. I know I asked Coach Dable about it, and he talked about, run fits. He talked about, just everything kind of fitting together and whatnot. But the Giants, last I checked, ranked 25th against the run. So maybe a little bit of an improvement, but not much. But you're right. They have to get pressure up front. They've got to get into that backfield, disrupt, clog the lanes, because you give a team second and short or second and manageable, third and manageable, and that opens up so many things they can do to you. And we've seen that happen with this Giant team so far in these first two games. So now you start creating some longer yardage situations on second down, third down. Then you can maybe sick the dogs on them, so to speak, and get that pass rush and hopefully, rattle Brock Purdy, who has done enough to get the 49ers, to winning games and whatnot. But he's still probably, if you look at the entire offense, he's maybe one of the guys you still have questions about. Can he sustain this for the long term?
I think we've tried to ask that question, and I feel like every game he's just checking off that box like, yeah, this is just me.
Yeah.
Then he has another game, and he's like, yeah, just me. So I truly believe that the Brock Purdy we've seen so far is just him. Now, is he prone to have that game at some point? I mean, everyone has a bad game, but up until this point, his worst game was a game where he still didn't turn the ball over, and the 49ers offense still put up 30 points. So I know Giants fans are going to listen to this and say, oh, they're just being homers. Like, no, we've questioned everything you could about Brock Purdy, and along the way, he's just checked off and crossed off every single question that we had.
Yeah, I mean, on paper, this just does not look good for the New York Giants. The road Thursday nighter, their best player on offense is out that they, run most of their offense through. They haven't been good stopping the run against a team that's really good in the run game. And like it's just really hard to build that picture for me to see a Giants win, which is why the line is, that's why the 49ers are favored by 10 points in this one. Even without a big McCaffrey game, that's turnovers. It's really hard for me to picture what a Giants win looks like, but that's why they play the games. And we always think that good team, bad team, there's this vast, this vast chasm of talent. And that's just not the case in the NFL. There's so much parity in this league. And you think, okay, they're double digit favorites. This is a gimme win. It's never like that in the NFL. And the 49ers fans probably thought it was going to be a breeze against the Rams last week. And, they had to go for it on fourth down to score just before halftime, just to tie that game up going into halftime. And they ran away from them a little bit at the end of the game, but it's just not that easy in the NFL. So I can't wait to see what this team looks like and see if maybe those New York Giants found some life in the second half of week 2 that they carry into week 3 here. Patricia, before we go, do you have any predictions on how this thing's going to go Thursday?
Yeah, besides the fact that it's going to be a long night for everybody, or at least those of us on the East Coast, is going to be a long night. Yeah, I'm as optimistic as anybody, but I also try to be realistic. I don't see a path for the Giants to win this game. I mean, everything would have to be perfect for them, and the 49ers would have to make some mistakes on which the Giants can capitalize on, and I just don't see that happening. I think the Giants will come and they'll be competitive. They will fight. No, they're not going to lay down and die, so to speak. But I just don't like the matchups. There's just too many matchups here that just worry me from a Giants perspective. So, I mean, if I had to give you a score, and by the way, last week I was correct in that I predicted a 3-point Giant win, but I was wrong with the score. So I'm going to try and go 2 for 2 here. I'm going to say 49ers 33, Giants 17. I think the 49ers, they're going to roll, and the Giants will fight. I just don't know if they can overcome some of these matchup issues that are just, nagging at me.
I will say this. Obviously, this matchup doesn't bode well for the New York Giants. But if there is a time where they could kind of sneak up on the team, it would be on a short week. And we've seen a lot of weird games happen on those short weeks, that Thursday night game. A lot of time it's a little weirder for the road opponent, but you never know. With that being said, yeah, I mean, I agree. I see the 49ers winning this by 2 scores as well. And not even just because of who the 49ers are, but really more so about Daniel Jones just not having Saquon Barkley. And against a team like the 49ers, like, you need that X factor. You need that guy that's going to take the pressure off of you when Nick Bosa is coming around that corner. You need that guy that's going to help take the pressure off when the 49ers continue to score down the field, which they get in scoring position. It feels like 90% of the time. So I think Saquon not being there makes it a lot tougher on Daniel Jones, where now you kind of have to be the everything to this offense. And I'm not sure he's quite that guy just yet.
Saw a lot of zone coverage last week from the 49ers. Can Daniel Jones, just take what the 49ers give him and march down the field, long drives? Brian Daboll is a really good coach, and this would be a really good coaching job by him to go into San Francisco and win one. Because, Patricia, this is a Giants team right now that they can start falling behind some really good teams in the NFC East, which looks like it's easily the most competitive division in the conference.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see the Giants be competitive. I always say, even if they don't win, show that you could stand toe-to-toe with the better teams. But, we'll see. They weren't able to stand toe-to-toe with the Cowboys, who I thought they had closed the talent gap with, and obviously that didn't pan out. They for one half of football, they didn't stand toe to toe with the Cardinals, who are probably amongst the worst teams in the NFL.
Yeah.
At some point, you'd like to see them start being a little bit more competitive and stand toe to toe with the better teams, because they still have, after the 49ers, they have some tough competition coming up. And if they don't start, standing toe to toe with these guys, then I'm not that doesn't bode well for that season.
The ball is all long and it bounces funny. And the Giants might need just that one bounce Thursday night at the San Francisco 49ers. Patricia, always a pleasure. Thanks so much for doing another Locked On 49ers crossover episode. For Eric Crocker of Locked On 49ers, for Patricia of Locked On Giants. Thanks everybody for making us your first listen on the Locked On Podcast Network. Make sure you are subscribed up on YouTube and everywhere you get your podcasts. And of course, all of us will be back with our respective fan bases post game. Talk to you then right here. Locked On 49ers and Locked On Giants.